Welcome. I am the one and only MSJ, Max for short, and welcome to this series of videos. I'm not quite sure what the actual title will be, but I've just been kind of dubbing it as the movie collection throwdown with the 13th Wolfman right here on YouTube. Just in case you don't know what this is, um, I have a friend over here on YouTube. Oh, hi, Denny. There you go, Denny. I issued a challenge to him. It's like, hey, we just need some like entertainment. And I'm like, you know what? I'll challenge the 13th Wolfman on his movie collection. It's like, I want you to go into your movie collection and find a movie that you maybe even double or quadruple dipped on, like movies you bought several times over. But and then I asked him to ask me a challenge right back, so I would go into my movie collection and find one as well. The challenge he asked me was like, what TV series would stand out in yours? Like, because I have a very uh, my niche is very geeky stuff, so it's like I have Smallville and stuff like that. But one that would kind of really stand out would be like Boardwalk Empire. So go watch those videos where I talked about those. But the explanation is really worth watching. So, and over on 13th Wolfman, he has his responses and him issuing challenges to me. So, I issued him a challenge, and the challenge was me and him are really into special features, and this usually can be the death of a purchase. It's like if they don't have enough special features or it's lacking a special feature, and that special feature for me, if it really doesn't have one, it can really like negate a whole purchase for me, and that is an audio commentary. So I told him to go into his collection and find a movie with a audio commentary that he really enjoyed, and he came back with one, and now I have to reveal my answer, which is Roadhouse. The auto commentary on this movie has Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier from the Jay and Silent Bob movies and Clerks and stuff like that. Um, if you don't know where this came about, is like on the Jay and Silent Bob DVD, he and Scott Mosier are talking about Roadhouse, like in this little video intro, and they're talking about maybe we just did an audio commentary for this movie, and then sure enough, they did, and it's hilarious. It's basically them kind of talking about the movie, and then kind of substituting Chuck Norris jokes for Patrick Swayze's character in the movie. So it's hilarious. It's worth a buy. It's different. That's why it really stands out to me. I had a few other like legit answers, like They Live and The Thing. Both John Carpenter movies. They always have really good commentaries, but this one is the one that stands out. So, in doing so, he answered my question, and now I have to answer his question, which was go into my movie collection and find a horror movie. He got really specific and told me to find a horror movie that I bought just because everyone loved, and that at the end when I finally watched it was like it was okay. So I was like, eh, and I took me a minute because I really enjoy horror movies, like even bad horror movies. But this one, I probably fit this category with the task that he set up on me really well, because when this movie came out, it was very different. Like, to us horror nerds or horror freaks or whatever, we have a very vast knowledge and very vast repertoire of horror movies that we know. And this one came out, even though I really love this director and I love his later bodies of work movies, his filmography later on, much more than his first one, but or his second outing, I think, which is Hostel. Because when this movie first came out, like everyone, I didn't go to the movies and see this movie. I had to wait for it to come out on DVD. Was everyone's like, oh man, there's so much sex and violence and blood and guts and whatever, and I'm like, okay, I'm like that really, really, really hyped it up for me. So when I finally got my hands on it when it came out, I'm like, okay, I set a whole night to watch it, and then when it was over, it was kind of like, okay. I mean, it had some really good gore effects. The story was actually pretty decent, but it just at the end of the day, it was like, okay, like I've seen the way it was presented to me, that it was like just like porn and blood and guts. That's basically what it was. And then when it was all said and done, I'm like, okay, if you really think that is bad, let me. Here's a top 10 list right here of what you will blow this movie out of the water. So, but I think what makes this movie stand out is because it was a mainstream release. It was big. It was different from any other horror movie at the time, and I think that's how it was like really why it stood out is because it was different. I really don't like classifying this as torture porn because I think there are torture porn movies, but this is just kind of like showing kind of just a dark side of humanity. It's like that's what it is, and like there's like this seems very realistic. It's like people just buying people to kill them. Like there's a scene in Hostel. I know I'm kind of rambling, where he's like the guy is escaping and he's just meeting this fellow patron, and he's like how'd it feel? Like it's like that rush or whatever, and so it was like okay, like this seems a little bit more realistic. I mean, some later scenes like towards the end got a little too dramatic, but I think the sequel is much, much, much better. But this is the one that kind of was like, okay. I mean, it was okay. I mean, I still enjoyed it, but it was like, eh. I bought it because everyone else loved it at the time. It's like, you gotta watch it. It was like this and this and this. Okay, so that was my pick. It was Hostile, and oddly enough, this has a really good commentary. Even has a commentary with Quentin Tarantino, which is very rare. So, okay, I have a question for you now, or a task for you, 13th Wolfman. I need you to go into your movie collection and find a movie that you loved but everyone else hates. Let's flip this around. I have a pretty decent answer, so I want you to go into yours. Like, find it's not really a guilty pleasure. I think it's just a movie that it's universally disliked, but for some odd reason it just really spoke to you, or like it really connected and just kind of had a moment like, oh, I really like this and really like that, and it's just kind of fit who you are. So it's like kind of like that. So that's my task. Let's reverse this thing a little bit. It's like I want you to go into your collection once again to find a movie that everyone else loved, but everyone else hated, but you loved. So I get myself confused. So please click subscribe. Hit the bell to stay notified. Me and the 13th Wolfman is going to keep this going as long as we can. We are having a lot of fun with this. I'm enjoying his participation. I cannot give enough props to the 13th Wolfman right here on YouTube. Like, thank you for doing this. Like, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. So thank you. Um, as always, I am the one and only MSJ. Max for short. Click subscribe. Hit the bell to stay notified. Go over to the 13th Wolfman. Subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. He does a lot of other stuff as well. Like me and him, or we're just not just horror movie buffs, but we're into everything. As you can see, I'm Brother Max. I'm wearing my Dude Love t-shirt. I think this might be my shirt for this series. So, and thank you for watching. Until the next challenge.